You read the title, so you know what it is. Let's get into it. Obviously, if you clicked on this video, you're probably looking for a phone mount for your motorcycle. I've got a 2023 Indian Scout Rogue, and I wanted somewhere to mount my freaking phone, and there's several options out there, but some of them are pretty freaking pricey for a little thing that's supposed to hold your phone. So, like the quad mount, I guess let's talk about some of the options before I talk about what I actually bought and put on my bike, or am installing on my bike right now. So a buddy of mine has a freak mount. It's like just a little clamp, that big old magnet on it that just magnetizes to the tank. So, which is good if you're not trying to actually use your phone for maps or anything like that, or be able to change your music pretty quickly without having to take your eyes too far off the road. It was strong, it held the phone, but I just didn't like how it only stuck to the tank. There's nowhere up here for it to attach to where I could actually really see it. So I didn't really care for that one. Then all the advertisements for the quad lock. And that seems to be the popular one that people are going for. But just like the base mount is pretty pricey in my opinion. And then you got to get a phone case. You end up spending $100-$150 at least on just a phone and phone case. Or not phone, but phone case, mount, all that stuff, and then all the attachments. There's a couple different ways to attach it to a motorcycle, and then if you want to get truck mount for it or whatever, it just feels like you're changing a lot and spending a lot of money just for something to hold your phone on the motorcycle. So yeah, well, that leads me into Amazon and the glorious things that are on there. So I've got a cheap phone mount here. I'm going to get flipped around here and show you what I actually bought, how it holds the phone, and then we'll get into installing it. The phone mount that I ended up going with is this thing. As you can see, I've already got it attached to the handlebars, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce the freaking name that this thing was listed as on Amazon, but it's like it looks like a cheap off-brand Chinese thing. It's supposed to be a wireless charger. That wasn't really of any concern to me. If anything, on these Indians, I do have a USB port on the side, and then I could plug my phone in from there. But I figured I was looking for something that mainly like held the phone really well. So I've used this a little bit already, so it's kind of a review and install video, I guess. But anyway, so this thing, it's got 3 little arms here, and then your phone, this little red button, like whenever you put your phone on it, clamps down, and then that clamp down holds the phone actually on the motorcycle. So here, and then to release it, you get these 2 little tabs here like that, and then you can pull your phone off. So, and that thing is not going anywhere, and this phone mount was like $40. So I really like it so far. Today I'm going to finish up the install. I'm going to show y'all how I installed this first part of it, how to get it clamped to your bars. And these wires here, I've kind of got laying. I've got them tied up here for now. And then today I'm going to look into getting that actually wired and see how the wireless charging works. So if you're looking for a phone mount, this is probably where I would start, unless you plan on spending over $100 for a phone mount for your motorcycle and then have to change every other phone mount that you have because you changed this one, if you got the quad lock at least. So let's get into this. What's inside the box. So obviously the mount itself with the wires. You got a few different options here. This is a separate mount that can be put, like, I think they show it as on the mirror mount. So if you wanted to undo this on certain ones, maybe. I didn't like this concept for mine because I didn't like where it would put everything. So it's got a bunch of different size bar rings here. So these are the rubber little slips. These go around the bar, and then your clamp actually clamps down. So as you can see, there's the bar clamp. So, and then it's got a little pivot, and then you just clamp it down, tighten it down. And then you got a little ball socket on the back, And this thing has held up pretty good. I kind of wondered if it would vibrate down, but I haven't had that issue, so it's actually held up really well. It's just got like a little twist lock back here to kind of tighten that down, and then that keeps this from wanting to fall. If it did want to fall, you could probably change the angle of this to where it's maximally leaned down so it can't fall any further, if you had that problem. But I haven't had that problem so far, so that's been really good. I put, I don't know, probably 100, 150 miles on it with that mount on, so it's been great so far. So the next thing is the wireless charging. The wireless charger has two wires here, red and black. So the red you want to put to a switched 12 volt, so it doesn't stay on all the time, so it only stays on when the bike is on and running. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. I've already kind of scouted this out a little bit, so I'm probably going to follow the factory wiring routing. I think this route's underneath the light here, or not the light, the instrument cluster, then down. And then I can probably follow this loom under the tank and then all the way back under the seat. So let's go ahead and take the seat off here. And as far as that goes, so then I'll kind of run it back up under here. And I got a couple fuse panels here. I got this fuse panel and that fuse panel. So I'm gonna do a little bit of digging and figure out which fuse panel I wanna use, but I have a add a circuit, add a fuse thing that I can hopefully use to add a fuse for. So I use these on a lot of the car building stuff that I do here at work. Whenever I need to add a circuit or a fuse to something where I have access to like a fuse panel. So a little fuse. So this will, I'll take out a fuse, put this in its place, and then it's got two slots for the circuit, the original circuit, and then the added fuse circuit. So I'll add that wire to this as long as I got a fuse that can fit. So I want to get down in here, check out these fuses, see which fuse I want to use, and then go from there. I'll show y'all how I route the wire here in a minute. I might put you up on time lapse, set y'all over here on the side, set up a time lapse, get that wire routed, and figure out this fuse. Took me a couple minutes, but I got that routed. A little bit of wire or something like a coat hanger and a little bit of tape will help you get it underneath this. Obviously, if you don't have it in the Scout Rogue, you might route this a little differently. So once I routed it, I got it down under there, and then followed this loom up under here. A couple zip ties, which I still need to clip. And then that brings my wiring out here. So now I'm going to make sure I get the right fuse, and then I'll get back with you whenever I add a circuit. I'm back. Okay, so I do have it working, but let's show you how I done it. And then I'm not quite done because of the way these fuse panels work. So on my motorcycle, I have two separate fuse panels, or there might even be more, but two that I can see. We got this big block that's got relays and fuses in it. So the style of add a circuit I have likes these fuses. The problem is the two on that side there, these two are just spares. So I can't actually use them. There's no voltage going to them. And then the one is down in there, and the add a circuit isn't tall enough to clear the relays. And you got these other weird fuses. I'm not really sure what kind these are, but it wouldn't work there either. So I can't use that fuse panel. Luckily, I found this little 3 fuse panel, and it is tucked away up in here. So I managed to get the cover off. So this is just the cover. This will keep water and stuff out, and that's a key part for what I got to figure out afterwards. So I also found out on these pins that came on the phone mount actually are just as wide as a mini fuse. So I can actually just put those 2 pins and get voltage without having to actually tap into wires or anything. So on this ATA circuit, I didn't have to use this wire. I can just run the positive side because this is already fused, so it comes fused. So that's for that, and it already has its own fuse in it. So all I need is the voltage. So I got the 5 volts, and I've got the 5 amp that was there. So that was for lights, it looks like, because I tried tender, but the 10 amp tender slot has voltage all the time, and I only need switched voltage because I don't want this thing on whenever the bike's not on. So I used a test light to verify that, and then once I change my wires around, I turn on the bike. So power on. Where's my phone? There's my phone. So I'll put my phone up here in the mount, and then you can see charging, fast charging. So charger even works with my case on it, so that's actually kind of surprising. I didn't know if it would actually work with the case being on. So yeah, I mean, for 40 bucks, and it's a wireless charger, I think that's pretty freaking dope. So let me get this all buttoned up. All right, I tried to come up with a way to waterproof this fuse panel, whatever you call it, and I couldn't really come up with anything that was good. So I ended up, I had to cut the cap to allow space for the ATA circuit, obviously. So I tried to find a few different, maybe like heat shrink wrap or something like that. I don't have anything like that with me right now. So basically right now we're just using electrical tape. I probably might go back and readjust this later. I don't ride the bike in the rain intentionally. I usually avoid any days that it's going to rain. I usually just ride this thing back and forth to work. Sometimes ride about an hour to a buddy's or whatever, but I'm usually pretty good on the weather. But anyway, so it is tucked up in the battery area, so it really shouldn't see too much moisture even if it did rain, unless it was like an absolute torrential downpour. So I'm going to tuck that back up into its spot, but other than that, I think that's going to be it for this video. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe. I probably got a playlist by now for this motorcycle, so go check out some of the other videos I've made. Till next time.